So the next group that's going to come out here with Robin, Jones, and Sophia, let's give them a round of applause. They're going to be talking about the importance of female entrepreneurship in the NFT space. Thank you.
Hello, thank you all for being here. My name is Jones, and I am one of the founders of Queer Friends NFT. Today we're going to be talking about the importance of female entrepreneurship in the NFT space with my amazing panelists here. So to kind of get us started, I want to pass it over so that you both can introduce yourself and give us a little bit of background about how you're bringing your entrepreneurship skills into your projects.
Hello, how are you guys today? Good morning. I am Robin. I'm one of the founders of Mint Drops. We are a no-code platform for creators to monetize and present their art to the world, create DAOs, contracts. That's the short version of what I do.
Hello everyone, my name is Sophia Adampour. I'm coming from Oslo, Norway. Last October I opened up the first physical NFT gallery in the Nordics. And we've been onboarding the people that necessarily wouldn't be in this digital sphere.
Amazing. So my first question is sort of for each of you, how is your particular brand or project really making sure that you're creating space, opportunity, and access for women in Web3?
Sure. So our particular space is open for everybody to create, be creative. So we do all the hard work of the technology. So you're able to come in, put everything you want, put your efforts into creativity. We do the heavy lifting for you for the tech. So women are encouraged. Don't be worried about the technology. Is it hard? Is it not? Be creative. Come into the space. We need a lot more of you to be in this world. Put out your strengths out there. Put out your causes out there. If we bond together in this Web3 space, we can do so much more together, so much more.
Yeah, having a tech background myself, being an engineer, I kind of experienced that it's difficult to onboard people, being very technical. So the clue here was to open a physical space, like a gallery, to lure people in and be like, oh yeah, you're coming to see art. But all of a sudden you talk about Web3, you talk about blockchain, you talk about NFTs, and then in that way they're onboarded in a way that they wouldn't necessarily been. And that's been working super great. As for now, we're having women meetups, women in NFTs that it's bi-weekly and over 30 people show up just because there's nowhere else for these people to go, I believe. Not being in Twitter spaces or not having Telegram or Discord. So just having a space that we're kind of in the city center as well. And that's just an eye-catching thing to do as well. But Robin, Jones, we didn't get to ask you back what you do.
That's right.
And,
yes,
and
that's
how
right.
you work with this.
I think that's really interesting, the way that we kind of represent different ways, all of the different aspects. So you're talking about physical space, literally creating space that women feel comfortable to come in, to learn, to ask questions. You're creating that sort of upfront, non-intimidating technical aspect, so you can get your creation, your content, your art up there without feeling like you have to learn all of the technology to start. I love that. At Queer Friends, we are really a soft place to land where we want to amplify the voices of women, genderqueer, and LGBTQ+ community members. And I know we all talk a lot about the fact that in most aspects of life, whether you want to call it Web 1, Web 2, IRL, whatever you like, women tend to get left behind. You add in a few intersectionalities of, a woman of color or a queer woman, and that just continues to get smaller and smaller, the space, the opportunity, the funding, the access. And so we really wanted to create that space to say, hey, if you're crypto curious and you're looking for a place where you can come learn, and we will put these opportunities in front of you, join us. So that's kind of what we're doing to try and bridge that gap. I think that leads to the question of why is it important, right? Do we do we even need women in the space? Like, why is it important for us to get in now, to create space now, to make sure that we are hearing women's voices on all topics, not just on women-specific topics?
That's right. So I'm going to add on to that. So I think it's really important for women to get in right now. It's very new. Web3 is really, really just the ground up. As we can see from here, maybe there's a handful of women at this conference, and this is a very large conference. So as you know, from Web 1 to Web 2, women were pretty much left out, left behind. But today, Web 3, we have the opportunity to start today, right now. Everybody get together. We can create funds for women. We can reach out to a lot of the, blockchains that are there. They can, help with, they should, they haven't yet, but they will in the future. We can create DAOs to unite and get women to stand up tall in this space, because it's so new that there's still so much time. We don't want to get left behind in this realm, definitely.
So the question was the importance
So the importance of why women should get into entrepreneurship and NFTs.
Absolutely, and it's profitable having women on your team. When Facebook or Meta launched their metaverse, and it was leaked that one of the female users experienced harassment within the 31st minute she was in that space, that kind of, that pushed me away from ever entering that space. And we talk, we communicate, we share our experiences. So, it's very profitable in a way, having all of the voices covered as well, and it's super important. I was talking with Jones as well about, products we're using, which are vital. I believe Web3, all the technology will be vital at some point, and also the hardware we're going to use. So car design, it was tailored by men, for men, and when it was introduced, the designs. So if you're a woman today and you end up in a car crash, the likelihood of not surviving it is 17% higher, just because of your gender, because we were not present when these designs were made. And that's just kind of scary to think about. Like now, with all these glasses being made, who are making it? I can open up my mom's MetaMask with the facial recognition technology not being tailored for women of color, and the statistics there not adding up. So it's super important if you really want to have an inclusive product that people want to use and feel safe around.
That's right, that's right.
Yeah, when we were talking about that backstage, I was mind blown by that. It's literally, our lives are more at risk in a car because we weren't at the meeting when we decided how to make these cars safe. Like, that's incredible to me. And so I think that's a great thing to talk about. Like, the infrastructure is being put in place right now. So if you want to talk about it from an ethical, moral perspective, yes, we all get it, right? Women should be involved. But let's move over to your bottom line. We know there was just a study in 2021, there was 360 different leadership qualities and attributes assessed, and women far outperform men on the vast majority of them. We know that women bring a unique skill set to the leadership table that complements the men on the, we're not asking for an all-woman board. You're looking for gender equality, right? We want to help each other. We are 50% of the population. So if you're creating products that women don't like, they didn't have a say in, that's affecting your bottom line. So if you need nothing more than to just say that brands, companies that have women on the leadership team, they have higher retention. They have a better bottom line. Women on average make 40 basis points more on their investments, right? We come with a different skill set. And so it's really important, if for nothing else, that we're really inclusive and we make space for that at the beginning, and this is the beginning. We keep saying that Web3 is going to be different. Here we are. Look around. We've failed already. Women are not at the forefront. There's 90% men in this, in this space. So I think that it's really important that this is our small window to change that and say, you know what, for all of these reasons, we're gonna make a difference there.
Definitely. So we haven't failed yet because it's so soon. And we're going to definitely, continue to carry the bring more women in, make more efforts to bring more women in. We do that. We constantly contact women in sports. We contact women in, different aspects. And like, hey, come onto our platform. We'll offer you this. Be visible in the Web3 space. What's needed to be done and how simple it is. If you're not doing the technology part, you're okay. You just show your creativity. Come to us. We're going to guide you. And there's so many groups that we can form together as women to help other women. And I think the women really need to bond together. There's no ego, because if there's an ego in this business today, we as women definitely will not be able to grow to make this Web3 women worldwide friendly, because Web 1 and 2 pass by with the dominance of all the males, but that, we need males and we need females, but there's an equal balance, and there's a reason that there's males and females, and it's needed in business also. So definitely, entrepreneurship is for everybody, not just for men.
Totally agree.
This is amazing. So, what can we say to those that are listening about actionable items? Whether that is another woman in the space, a non-binary person in the space, a man in the space. What's an actionable item that you could do, something small, something big, that you can do to really make sure that this is a priority and something that you're part of the solution and not part of the problem?
So an actual solution, how to bring more women in? Is that what you're saying?
Just like an actionable event. Like, what can you do? How do you make a difference? If we leave here today and everyone goes, okay, well, those three chatted for 20 minutes, that was fine. What can they do? What can they do in their hotel room or next week?
Yeah. I think social media is a really large aspect of how people can communicate in this space. Join as many Discords as you can that have some women in it, and make sure, I think, that you're known that you're a woman in the Discord, because it's like, hey, bro, yo, bro, in the Discord, right? So I think making sure you're known that you're a woman and adding more women into the Discord. So even if your name sometimes is Brittany or it's Sunshine or whatever it is, and they're still calling you yo, bro, I think it's like, hey, hello, does that seem like I'm a bro to you? No. Maybe putting a little standard straight, and then bringing all your other women friends, like, hey, come join, just to get the knowledge, just to make that little step, get somebody to join Telegram group, get somebody to join Discord. There's so many aspects where people can come in step by step, just little steps, or give them a free NFT. If you're doing an NFT project, give them a free NFT. Say, hey, just come into our group. We're going to give you a free NFT. There's no investment. This is how you're going to learn what Web3 is about. I think those are some of the steps that you could take.
Absolutely, and as I was talking with Robin at ETH Denver earlier this year, just being present, just being on stage kind of helps. I'm not super comfortable speaking publicly, but I've seen how much effect it can kind of have. So after my talk at ETH Denver, going off stage, meeting a group of 5 young girls, being like, oh, you're the first one I see looking like myself doing this, so there's a space for me. And I'm like, yeah, sure, cool. Absolutely, please, and then you show off Discord, you show Telegram, you show which spaces you are in, and just trying to bring them in that way. And just being present kind of helps. And we need to talk about the most important part, financing women as well. Coming from Norway, which is one of the most progressive, liberal places in the entire world, only 0.3% of risk capital goes to female entrepreneurs. And that kind of makes me scared to think about, okay, what's the number other places, right? Because women also fund other women, because it's a tendency we have as humans as helping out, I don't know, have greater communication with people we feel comfortable with and kind of look like us. So that's why the space looks like it does today.
Possibly, yeah.
So, yeah, and I'm just here today because I met Asaya Abdraman from Primodora DAO, and she was like, yeah, you should come. I'm going to fund you to come to NFT.NYC and get the knowledge you need in order to go back to Norway and onboard more people. So that was super rewarding, and that's how it works.
We could talk about funding. Yeah. So I was reading a statistic where women are funded just 3% of the world women in any technology receive funding from a VC. So 3% of the world's women, not just 3% of the United States, this is the whole world that consists of billions and billions of human beings, 3% is nothing. That's like a drop out of, a bottle of water, totally a drop. So I think DAOs can be used. We could set up DAOs, do collaborations with, not only the women can do it, because the women are the ones who need the funding. So if we're funding all the women, that obviously isn't going to help us. If all the women are funding women, that's not going to get us anywhere. So we need everybody as a unity to come in and be like, hey, okay, we're going to help fund the women in the space, or everybody else who need, whatever you want to classify yourself as. Everybody should get equality in Web3, and that's the whole point of Web3, is like, you're unique, you're creative, but how are you going to get there? We need the funding. That's very important.
I love that. Funding, opportunity, access, right?
That's right.
I think that, we've hit on some really good topics. I think women partnering with other women, uplifting, amplifying their voices, being allies to one another, right? Like, we've got to be collaborative. There can't be that bullying or competition mentality anymore. And that's something right now, I will say, in Web3, gives me a lot of hope. I do see that in the women in Web3 community. But like you said, if only 3% are getting funding, right? At some point, you're going to have to be competitive, as opposed to, we need to change that number. We need to look with abundance to funding women, to funding women and non-binary people, so that we can have, more women in leadership positions. I was looking up these stats before coming here today, and the fact that the first Fortune 500 CEO who was a woman was 50 years ago blew my mind. That's it. The first queer woman, 2019. 2019.
2019.
Wow,
That's insane.
Like,
That's
it's
insane.
insane.
Yeah.
And so I think that we really need to be setting aside intentional money that is going to go to, women-founded or non-binary founded projects, brands, companies, technology, and we really need to, sort of accelerate that. I think the other, important thing to talk about is representation, to make sure that everyone who comes into the space feels like they have a place there. They see themselves, like you said, you had people come up to you and say, oh, you're the first one I've seen that looks like me. How many of you have scrolled through OpenSea, even if you're looking at an ape or a lion or whatever, but you find that PFP, even that you feel represented by something in there triggers something inside of you that makes you feel seen. And it's so exciting, right?
Exactly.
And so I think that representation through, whether that's in the actual art or when you're looking at, the community and you see people that look like you, sound like you, talk, speak your language, I think that's so powerful for you to be able to say, oh, this is somewhere I belong. And we're very quickly moving into the metaverse and all of these avatars and everything.
Right.
You get in there and it's like, pick your left or your right? Are you a male or a female? And then here's your
Avatar.
5 skin colors for those that are getting really, progressive, and 3 hairstyles. We really need to make sure that everyone feels seen and feels like this is a space for me. So I think representation is really important as well.
Yes.
Yeah, it's cool that you mentioned PFPs, because if you look at the floor ones like Azuki or Punks, you see that the floor price NFTs are those with female traits and darker pixelated colors. So that's kind of scary going into the metaverse, knowing like you can kind of value looks like that, and just going into this is kind of, so that's also very, triggering, and makes me want to be more present and make people purchase the floor NFTs, and because it just also shows who's in the space and not.
Yeah, you're right. The NFTs today, they represent the blue chips. Definitely are male dominated at this point, but I'm sure there is the World of Women NFT, which is out there. I think if they push a little more, they could create a big, but there can be so much more. There can just be so much more in the PFP space where it's not just male dominated, but a lot of women have to bond together. And again, it can't be just the women giving to the women, because it's not going to work. So it's really a collaboration between everybody. And the blockchains, I think that, the companies that are sponsoring these events, they're also ones that really need to collaborate and be like, hey, sure, we're going to be the first. We're going to create a fund for women. And I think since they want to be the leaders, and and they're doing an excellent job, as you can see here at NFT.NYC. They've created, so many venues. They actually invited a lot of women to speak on stage. There are a lot of women speaking at this event, which is not normal and it's not seen. So they're making an attempt, but financial attempt has to be made. And entrepreneurs, women are naturally entrepreneurs because they have to multitask at home, they have to work, they have children. They're just born, it's engraved in them, you know. So entrepreneurship is definitely, it's a thing for women. They're just engraved with entrepreneurship. They just need the push, that's all.
Absolutely. I want to take it back really quickly to the actionable items, right? You know, we actually have had a couple interesting and really cool examples this week here at NFT.NYC of ways that other projects are giving that opportunity and access to, you know, historically underrepresented groups. We've actually, for example, Dead Fellas gave out 20 passes to their event here to the LGBTQ+ community, airdropped an NFT to those people, hardly even mentioned it on their socials. It wasn't a performative act, but gave this community that, you know, would in general probably be priced out of the collection at this moment, access to this event, access to those people to be able to network, to be a part of something that's already been successful. And so things like that, I think someone mentioned, you know, you could gift an NFT. The other thing is you can gift a utility to a different community. We like to say we want to be the, you know, the point of access, point of contact, because it's not easy to be like, we were talking about this before, you know, you're going to put out an ad for a job opportunity and be like, you know, I really want colored women or women that sleep with other women. You know, it's like, that's not appropriate to put out like that.
And they're going to take the ad down.
You know, you're like, that's not the way it works. But you can target projects and founders that you know have a community of these people represented in that community and say, hey, I want to throw you a few NFTs. I want to throw you a few passes to our event. We've got this cool educational platform, or we've got this guide on how to be secure, and we're gonna, you know, it costs us nothing to also allow your Discord users or your community members to run through this, you know, e-course on security. So there's a lot of ways that you can be creative and to give opportunity and access to different communities that could really use it, as opposed to everyone sort of having to build. And then the only other thing I wanted to comment on is, so yes, so let's think about World of Women, right? Blue chip woman project. Floor price for WoW compared to any blue chip man-founded project, right? Let's compare those. How about the mint price for women-led projects, right? The mint price starts to peak over 0.07. People are like, whoa, what are you doing? But a man-led project, right? They've got a little bit of experience, and it's like, oh yeah, you know, 0.15, I'm in. 0.5, let's do this. This gets me more excited the more expensive it is. And so we really need to think about those things in terms of financial gains. And then I've heard a lot of people say, well, being women-led is not enough. And you're right. Being, you know, just saying that this is our utility, we're a woman-focused brand or community, that's not enough. But how do you build when you don't have the same financial resources of that project that just minted at twice the price, the volume went 12 times as high, they have a lot more money to hire to build than the women-led project, so it's not a fair comparison.
I wanted to add before our time runs out, I think it's also not just about just the project or the art, it's really the utility factor and how you're going to build a community. Because if you don't offer anything with your PFP and there's nothing else besides the JPEG that you're selling, it has a lot to do with, if you see Ape Fest, now it's like every day they have amazing artists, but of course they have the money now. But they also started to build their community one bit at a time. You know, they did merch, so merchandise, building, you know, building the community is very important in this aspect. So I think it's not just the projects and the pictures, it's how you're gonna lay out a roadmap of what your community is going to offer, is what's going to do, what NFTs are going to really skyrocket. What are you offering except for the picture? That's really going to be the future, is how you're going to utilize the NFT to unlock something exclusive, unlock kind of access, buy something, get airdrop something. The exclusiveness is very important, but we're almost out of time.
Yes, so we've got to close up. This has been an incredible conversation, so I just want to pass it over. If you will tell everyone where they can find you and, you know, continue to meet. Hope you all will take a moment and say hello to these ladies after the panel.
Oh yeah, Verse Gallery NFT on Instagram and on Twitter, yeah, Discord as well. So reach out.
All right. So I'm Robin from Mint Drops. So robin@mintdrops.com. You can find us at mintdrops.com. There you go.
And we're Queer Friends NFT on Twitter, queerfriendsnft.com. Feel free to join the Discord. Would love to meet you all after the panel. Say hello. Thank you all for coming. This has been beautiful. And be kind to each other. Be kind to yourselves. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody who's
Thank you so much.
listening. Thank you so much.